Stranded and hunted, the sky burned orange as the escape pod tore through the thick clouds of Arvalon 9. Inside, Riley cross-gripped the safety bars. The pod shook violently. Alarms screamed. Sparks flew across the control panel. Brace for impact, the pod's AI warned. But Riley was alone. The rest of his crew hadn't made it to the pods in time. The crash hit hard. Metal crunched. Dust exploded. Then, silence. Riley opened his eyes slowly. His head throbbed. Smoke filled the cabin. He coughed and kicked open the emergency hatch. Hot wind hit his face as he stumbled out onto the rough red dirt. Nothing but silence. No signs of life, just rocks, broken trees, and strange black vines. His suit's scanner blinked. No human life forms detected within 500 miles. He was truly alone. Riley looked up at the cracked sky. The planet's twin moons hung above like quiet watchers. He checked his gear. A pistol, half a ration pack, and a cracked comm unit. No signal. Great, he muttered. Stranded with no backup, no food, and no one to talk to. He activated the pod's black box to check the last logs. Static buzzed, then a voice came through. Commander Hale, speaking in a low, urgent tone. If anyone survives, stay away from Sector 7G. Repeat, do not enter 7G. Mating territory of the Alien Beastwoman. They hunt when they're in heat. You'll never survive alone. End log. Riley's eyes widened. Beastwomen? Mating territory? He had read the reports before the mission. Rumors, mostly. Stories told in whispers. Creatures that were part human, part alien, all muscle, and all dangerous. They weren't just predators, they were smart, fast, and territorial. The worst time to be near them when they were in heat? He checked his map. His pod had landed deep in 7G. Perfect, he muttered. Riley started walking, hoping to reach a nearby hill to get a better view. As he moved, he noticed the environment shifting. The ground grew softer, more overgrown. Strange claw marks appeared on trees. Bones, some human, some not, lay scattered on the ground. The wind carried a strange scent, sweet, musky, and sharp. It made his heart race. He tapped his helmet, checking his filters. Nothing wrong there, but then he felt it. Something was watching him. He turned quickly. Nothing. But the scanner beeped once. A heat signature, large, fast-moving, just at the edge of range. Riley crouched low behind a rock, pistol raised. He could hear breathing, deep, slow, close. Then he saw it, a tall silhouette, standing against the dying light. 7 feet at least, broad shoulders, long limbs, glowing eyes. She stepped forward slowly, just enough for him to see her outline. Her skin was dark silver. Hair like black fire flowed down her back. Her muscles rippled under strange tribal armor made from bones and metal, and her eyes, golden, cat-like, locked with his. Riley froze. She tilted her head, sniffed the air, and let out a low growl. Not angry. Curious. Riley tried to back away slowly. One wrong move and he knew it would be over. But then she took a step closer. Her claws were long but not raised. Her body seemed to pulse with energy, glowing softly under her skin. The scanner on his wrist blinked red. Warning, high pheromone concentration, heat cycle active. Riley's heart pounded. He had stumbled right into an active hunt. And worse, he was likely the only male in miles. The beast woman moved closer. Riley raised his pistol, shaking. "Stop right there," he said, trying to sound strong. She paused, then smiled. Not a warm smile. A wild one. A predator's grin. And then faster than he could blink, she was gone, vanished into the shadows. Riley spun around. Nothing. But he felt something brush past his back. Warm breath near his neck. She was playing with him. The hunter had found her prey. And Riley was all alone. The beast woman revealed. Riley didn't sleep that night. He crouched inside the hollow wreck of his escape pod, eyes fixed on the shadows, outside. Every sound, every rustle of wind, crack of branches, or distant growl made him grip his pistol tighter, but nothing came. She didn't attack. She was playing a long game. As the red sun of Arvalon 9 rose over the hills, Riley knew one thing: he was being hunted but not to be killed. The scanner still picked up the heat signature. It hadn't moved far. She was watching, waiting, studying him. If she wanted me dead, I'd be dead, he whispered to himself. He had to move. Staying in the pod made him feel like meat in a cage. He climbed out slowly, checking every corner. Silence. Then a low sound behind him, a purr. Deep. Female. He turned fast, gun raised. Nothing. He spun around again. Still nothing. Then he looked up. She was standing on top of the wreck, crouched like a lioness, staring down at him. Tall, silent, powerful. Her skin shimmered in the morning. Light. Dark silver, almost like living metal. Her eyes still glowed gold. Her body was built like a warrior, but she moved like a dancer. Smooth, controlled, confident. And once again, she smiled. Not friendly. Not cruel. Curious. She tilted her head, and for a second Riley saw something new in her expression. Not just animal instinct, but intelligence. Then she leaped. Riley rolled to the side just as she landed with a heavy thud where he had stood. Her clawed feet cracked the metal surface. She didn't attack, just stood there watching him. He aimed his pistol at her chest. Back off. She didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped closer. Riley fired, a warning shot into the air. She didn't blink. Then suddenly she spoke. It wasn't English. The words were guttural, ancient, and strange. But the way she said them, slowly, carefully, it was clear she was trying to communicate. Riley stared at her. What do you want? She repeated a word. Kathira, Kathira, and tapped her chest. Then she pointed to him. Navek. A name. A title? Was she naming him? Riley lowered the pistol just a little. Navek? He asked, pointing. To himself. She nodded. Okay. I'm Riley. Riley Cross. She just kept smiling. Navek. He didn't know what it meant, but it felt important. Then she turned and started walking into the jungle, slow and steady. After a few steps, she looked over her shoulder and waited. She wanted him to follow. Riley hesitated. Every rule in survival said never follow the thing hunting you, but this wasn't normal. She had a purpose. And deep down, Riley knew. If he stayed here, he'd die alone. He followed. The jungle walk they walked for hours. The landscape changed. The dry desert turned into thick alien forest. Huge trees with glowing blue leaves, vines that hissed when touched, and strange floating insects that blinked like stars. Riley kept his distance, but the Beastwoman, Kathira, would glance, back now and then to make sure he was still following. No traps, no games, just a slow, silent march into the unknown. Finally, they reached a clearing. In the center stood a massive stone structure, half temple, half fortress. Vines crawled across. Its symbols were carved into its sides, glowing faintly. Kathira motioned for him to enter. Inside, the air was thick and warm. The walls were lined with carvings of beastwomen, battles, rituals. It felt like a sacred place. At the far end, a platform. On it, a translator core. Ancient tech. Old Earth design. Riley rushed forward, wiping off the dust. This is military issue. How did it get here? Kathira stood beside him, touching the device gently. She motioned for him to activate it. With a few clicks, it came alive. Lights blinked. A soft female voice echoed through the room. Universal translator activated. Kathira waited. Then she spoke again, this time slowly, clearly. Navek. Chosen male. Riley froze. What do you mean, chosen? She walked in a circle around him. her voice deep and calm, only male. Others dead. You are strong, smart. You walk alone. You survive. You are rare. Riley swallowed hard. Look, I don't know what you think I am, but I'm just a guy trying to get off this planet. Kathira stepped closer. You are in my territory. My cycle begins. My sisters will come. They will not ask. They will take. That sent a chill through Riley's spine. Kathira placed a clawed hand gently on his chest. But I claim you. They cannot touch what is mine. Riley looked into her eyes. There was no madness there, only fire. A deep, ancient hunger mixed with something else. Respect? Protection? I need to contact my people, he said. I need a signal tower, a rescue team. Kathira nodded. I help. But you stay near. You are marked now. Marked? She stepped back and revealed the side of his neck, a faint glow. A symbol burned into his skin. He hadn't even felt it happen. You are mine, she said, her voice steady, and then the translator shut off. Darkness filled the chamber. Outside, a roar echoed, louder, more savage. Kathira's eyes narrowed. They come. Riley raised his pistol. What comes? She looked toward the trees, where glowing eyes appeared in the distance. My sisters. The den of desire, the roars were getting louder. Riley stepped back, pistol aimed at the tree line. Dozens of glowing eyes blinked between the vines. Heavy footsteps, snarls, growls. Something was coming. Something fast. Something wild. Kathira stood between Riley and the forest, calm like a statue. Her tail flicked once. She raised her clawed hand, and the jungle fell silent. For a few seconds, Riley thought it was over. Then the trees parted. They didn't come like a pack. They came like an army, tall, muscular, and terrifyingly beautiful. More beast women. Each one with glowing eyes, sharp claws, armored skin, and long, wild hair that shimmered under the moonlight. Their bodies were made for war, but their movements were seductive, dangerous, deliberate. They circled the clearing, sniffing the air like wolves. Riley stepped back again. This is bad. Kathira didn't move. She let out a short, deep growl. The other beast women stopped. A moment of silence. Then the largest of them stepped forward. Her horns were longer, her body thicker with muscle. She wore bone armor over her chest, and her fangs gleamed in the dark. Her voice was like thunder. You claim the Navek? Kathira nodded. He is mine. The large one stepped closer. We have not smelled male blood in 2 cycles. The right must happen. The law cannot be broken. The right? Riley's chest tightened. He didn't like the sound of that. Kathira didn't back down. I challenge. That single word made the circle hiss and growl. Some laughed, some snarled. Riley didn't understand, but he could feel it. This was a fight, a ritual. For him, the large beast woman cracked her neck and grinned. You are brave, but weak from waiting. Kathira stepped forward. I fight at Moon Peak. The circle howled in agreement. Then they vanished, melting back into the jungle shadows like smoke. Only the large one remained. She turned to Riley, stared into his eyes, and said in perfect English, If she loses, you're mine. Then she disappeared. Riley turned to Kathira, confused and shaken. What the hell is going on? Kathira breathed deeply. They smell your seed. You are the only male. They will take you if I fail. I'm not some prize to fight over, but Kathira only touched his face gently, almost tender. You will see. You are more. The den later that night, Kathira led Riley into a hidden cavern near the cliffside, her den. It wasn't made of stone alone. It was warm, lit by glowing moss, decorated with bones and ancient tech. Salvaged relics from crashed ships, old weapons, even human helmets. You've met humans before? He asked, pointing at a rusted Earthfleet badge. She nodded. Long, ego, They came. They died. Not strong. Why am I different? Kathira sat beside a small pool of glowing water and said nothing for a long time. Then she spoke quietly. Because you fight, even afraid. You do not run. You do not beg. Riley sat across from her, still clutching his pistol. What happens at Moon Peak? I challenge Yura, my blood rival. Only one can claim you. The old law. And if you lose? She looked at him seriously. Then you become breeding prize. Riley stared at her. That's not happening. Kathira leaned closer. You have two choices. Flee into jungle and be hunted by all, or stay with me. Let me win. How? She stood, walking slowly around him. You are not like others. You must awaken power. Inside. What power? She pointed to the glowing symbol on his neck. Your mark is not from me. It is ancient tech. It responds to male instinct, dominance, survival, desire. You were chosen before I found you. Suddenly Riley remembered something. The flash when the escape pod crashed. The strange humming before blacking out. It had activated then. He looked at his hands. What if I can't control it? Kathira stopped behind him. Then they will. Riley stood and paced the cave. Okay, so let me get this straight. You want me to stay in this den while you fight some giant beast woman to the death? Just so I don't get dragged off as a breeding slave? Kathira tilted her head. You understand now. Great. He looked at her again. Really, looked, Kathira was dangerous. But she wasn't cruel. She hadn't forced him. She protected him. Even now when she had no reason to. And that scared him more than anything else. Because he was starting to trust her. Midnight whisper that night. Riley couldn't sleep. He sat near the den entrance, watching the stars and clutching a broken Earth Fleet comm device. Suddenly it blinked. One green light. Signal. Weak, but real. He clicked it fast. This is Lieutenant Riley Cross. Earth Fleet Escape Pod 9271. Crashed on Arvalon 9. Surrounded by alien hostiles. Requesting immediate evac. No reply. Just static. Then a voice. Barely a whisper. Riley. They're not what they seem. They're not native. The signal cut. Riley's blood froze. Not native? Before he could process it, Kathira appeared. Beside him, eyes narrowed. You heard them. You heard that voice when he asked. She nodded. They lied to you. Your people came here not to explore, but to take. This land remembers. The mark chose you for balance. He stared at her. Balance between what? Kathira looked at the stars. Between the beasts and the liars. The blood moon duel. The red moon rose like a silent judge above the jungle, sky. Its light painted the forest in blood. Shadows twisted. Leaves shimmered. Every sound seemed louder, hungrier. The air felt thick, like something ancient was watching. Kathira stood at the center of the battleground, her body marked with white war paint, her eyes glowing bright yellow, her claws sharp and ready. Riley stood behind a stone pillar, heart pounding like a drum. He could barely breathe. All around them, the other beast women gathered in a wide circle, at least 20 of them. Some sat on high rocks, others crouched in the branches above. Every one of them watching, waiting. From the far side, Yura stepped into the ring. She was huge, almost a head taller than Kathira. Her muscles rippled under black armor, made from the bones of fallen prey. Her horns curved like blades. Her tail lashed the ground, and in her hand she held a hammer the size of Riley's chest. Riley whispered to himself, "You can't win this." But Kathira didn't flinch. She crouched low. Her claws dug into the earth. Her breathing slowed. Her body was ready. A low growl echoed across the clearing. One of the elder beast women raised her staff. Begin. The duel begins, Yura charged. First like a tank, She swung her hammer with full force. Kathira dodged, rolled, and leapt onto a rock, then kicked off and slammed into Yura's side. The impact shook the ground. The crowd howled. Yura stumbled but didn't fall. She swung again. Kathira ducked, but not fast enough. The hammer grazed her shoulder, sending her crashing into a tree. Riley shouted, "Kathira!" But she got up bleeding, breathing hard, eyes locked on her rival. Yura laughed. "You are soft. Keeping a male has made you weak." Kathira wiped the blood from her mouth. "Then take him if you can." The fight exploded again. Faster, wilder, trees shattered, rocks cracked. Kathira fought like a blur of claws and fury. But Yura was stronger, heavier, almost unstoppable. Riley watched, helpless. He clenched his fists. The mark on his neck burned hotter with every second. The glowing line spread down his chest, pulsing like veins of fire. Something was waking up inside him. The mark awakens. Kathira slammed into the ground again. Her leg twisted. She roared in pain. Yura walked toward her slowly, hammer raised for the final blow. "No," Riley whispered. "No." The mark on his neck flashed. Blinding white light. Every Beastwoman froze. Even Yura turned. Riley stepped out from behind the pillar, his eyes glowing white-blue, his veins traced with alien light, his voice deeper, not fully his own. "Stop," Yura snarled. "You dare speak during the rite?" Kathira looked up weakly. Riley stepped forward. "This fight ends now." The ground trembled beneath his feet. The vines around the trees moved as if alive. The very jungle responded to him. The elder Beastwoman stood up, her eyes wide. "The chosen," whispers rippled through the crowd. "He is marked. It is real. He carries the power." Yura looked shaken for the first time. You carry the voice of the ancients." Riley didn't know what was happening, but he could feel it. Power, old and wild, flowing through him. Not just strength, but control. He raised his hand, and the hammer in Yura's grip flew into the air and snapped in half. Gasps echoed through the clearing. Kathira smiled, even in pain. Yura dropped to one knee. "Forgive me. I did not." "No." Riley looked at her. "You wanted to own me. Use me. You don't deserve mercy." The elder stepped between them. "He has spoken. The rite is broken. The law must change." Ancient truth. Later, in Kathira's den, she lay resting, her leg wrapped in glowing moss. Riley sat beside her, still glowing faintly, shaking. What am I?" he whispered. Kathira reached for his hand. "You are more than male. You are the voice of balance. I don't understand. My people said this planet was uninhabited, just wild zones." Kathira looked into his eyes. They lied. She pointed to an old screen built into the wall. Ancient tech. Riley tapped it, and a recording played. A human face appeared, old, bearded, in uniform. Experiment log 72. The Arvalon program has failed. The Beastwomen evolved too fast. We tried to control them, breed them, but they turned on us. And if this message is found, know that this planet does not belong to us. It never did. Riley's heart dropped. Kathira said softly, "You are not the first, but you are the first to be accepted." He whispered, "My command." They knew. They sent me here on purpose. Why? She nodded. "To test you, or to feed you to the jungle. But the jungle chose you instead." One last warning. That night, as Riley slept, the comm device blinked again. Another message came through. "Cross, if you're alive, don't trust the natives. They're manipulating your mind. You're infected. Earth fleet is coming. Prepare for retrieval. We will cleanse the area. Burn everything." Riley stared at the blinking screen. Cleanse. Burn. Everything. Kathira woke behind him. "What did they say?" Riley looked at her, then at the stars above. "They're coming. And next time, they weren't sending rescue, they were sending war." Earthfleet's lie, the morning came with silence, but it was the wrong kind of silence. Not peaceful, not calm. It was the kind of silence before a storm. Riley sat alone on a moss-covered stone staring at the sky. His comm device blinked red. The message was still playing in his head. Prepare for retrieval. We will cleanse the area, burn everything. Didn't know what cleanse really meant, but he could guess. Back on Earth Fleet bases, cleansing was code. It meant total destruction. No survivors, no witnesses. Kathira limped up behind him, her legs still healing. You've been quiet, she said. They're coming, he whispered. They're bringing warships. She looked toward the sky. Your kind always brings fire. Riley turned to face her. Why didn't they tell me? Why send me here with false data? Why act like this place was just a test zone? Kathira's eyes glowed faintly in the morning light. Because they're afraid. A hidden truth. Kathira led Riley deep into the jungle, far beyond the known hunting zones. They passed through ancient stone gates, over fallen ruins covered in glowing vines. A waterfall hid the entrance to a hidden chamber. Inside, it was cool and dark. Carvings on the walls showed humans and beastwomen standing together, peacefully, sharing fire, building cities, even raising young. These are old stories, Kathira said. Before the betrayal. Riley frowned. Betrayal? Kathira lit a blue flame in her hand. The carvings moved, shifting like holograms. One showed human soldiers in armor burning villages, dragging beastwomen into cages. They came to learn, but stayed to take, she said. They called us wild, untamed. But we had our ways. They didn't understand us, so they tried to control us. Riley clenched his fists. That's not in any history record. Of course not, she said. Your kind erased it, but we remember. He stared at the wall, the glowing mark on his neck pulsing again. Kathira's voice softened. You were different. You didn't come to conquer. You listened. That's why the jungle chose you. Back at the crash site, Riley returned to his crash site with Kathira. The ship's wreckage was still smoking. The emergency beacon had stopped blinking, but something else was there now. A probe. It floated in the air, scanning everything with a blue light. Kathira pulled Riley back into the trees. It's a scout. If it sees you... Too late. The probe turned, locked onto Riley, and pinged. A soft electronic voice spoke. Subject identified. Captain Riley Cross. Status: alive. Retrieve with caution. Authorize containment protocol. Then, it shot upward into the clouds, vanishing in seconds. Riley whispered, They know I'm alive. Kathira looked at him. Now they'll come faster. Plans of war that night. Kathira called the Council of Elders. Riley stood beside her in the sacred clearing, surrounded by the jungle's ancient power. Elders in bone robes sat around a fire. The glowing trees watched like silent guards. He brings a warning, Kathira said. A fleet is coming. They want to destroy us. An old beastwoman spoke. Why should we believe a human? Riley stepped forward. Because I was one of them. I followed orders. I believed the lies, but now I see, another elder hissed. What proof? Riley tapped the comm. He played the full message from Earthfleet. Subject has bonded with natives. Mission threat level now Alpha. Execute Protocol 9. Cleanse and contain. The fire flickered violently. The jungle whispered. Even the animals had gone quiet. They will erase you, Riley said, unless we stop them. The jungle responds. One of the elders stood. We must call the deep roots. Kathira looked shocked. That hasn't been done in 100 years. They are our last defense, the elder said. And only he can awaken them. She looked at Riley. What are the deep roots? He asked. Kathira didn't answer. Instead, she took his hand and led him to a place no outsider had ever seen. The ancient awakening. They reached a dark valley where twisted, Trees formed massive spirals into the ground. The trees pulsed like they were alive, like breathing. "This is where life began," Kathira said. "The jungle itself sleeps here." Riley stepped forward. His mark pulsed. The vines moved. The trees opened like eyes. A voice, not a voice, but a feeling, entered his mind. "We remember you." Riley dropped to his knees. "What are you?" "We are what was lost, what they tried to kill. But you carry the flame." Kathira placed her hand on his shoulder. "Speak. Wake them." Riley placed his palm on the ancient tree. Light burst from the ground. Vines spiraled upward. Flowers bloomed instantly. The sky cracked with thunder. The deep roots had awakened. One final message. Riley's comm blinked again. This time, it was a live transmission. His old commander. "Cross. I don't know what you've been told, but this is your last chance. Stand down, walk to the extraction zone and wait. If you interfere with this mission, you'll be marked a traitor to Earth. Do not protect them. They are not your kind." Riley stared at the device. He looked at Kathira, at the jungle, at the glowing life pulsing beneath his skin. Then he spoke clearly into the comm. "Then mark me a traitor, because I am one of them now." He crushed the comm under his boot and far above the clouds. The Earth Fleet warships had already begun their descent. The last stand. Under red skies, the sky had turned red, not from sunset, but from the flames of the approaching Earth Fleet ships. Their shadows moved across the jungle like hungry monsters. The air grew thick with heat and static. The noise of engines shook the trees. The birds had already fled. Kathira stood beside Riley on a tall cliff overlooking the valley below. Her claws were ready, her eyes glowing like fire. "The war has come," she said. Riley looked down at the command tablet he took from the broken probe. Enemy landing zones were marked in red. 3 massive dropships full of soldiers, mechs, and drone tanks. "They'll be on the ground in 10 minutes, he said. She nodded. "Then we have 10 minutes to become legends." The jungle awakens. The deep roots had answered Riley's call. All around him, the jungle was alive. Trees moved. Vines listened. Stone statues breathed. The Beastwoman tribes had gathered in full, strong, fast, silent as shadows. Many had never worked together before. Old rivalries were set aside. They all followed Kathira now. But more than that, they trusted him. "Riley, what do we do?" one of the young warriors asked. He looked around. At hunters with bone armor, archers on tree branches, and warriors hidden in the underbrush. "We hit them before they hit us," he said. "We use the jungle. We don't fight like soldiers. We fight like ghosts." Kathira gave a growl of approval. "You lead the sky traps," Riley told her. "I'll handle the ground team. Let's make sure they regret ever coming here." The first drop. The sky tore open with fire. The first Earth Fleet ship landed in a clearing, and the soldiers poured out. Tall, armored, faceless. Weapons hot. Mechs followed, stomping the ground flat. "Scan complete, no sign of resistance, move forward." Then a vine shot out of the trees, grabbing the lead mech's leg, pulling it down into a pit of glowing roots. The jungle swallowed it whole. The soldiers opened fire in all directions, but the jungle kept moving. From the trees, the Beastwomen dropped silently like panthers. Screams, metal cracking, bones breaking. One of the soldiers turned to run, only to find Riley standing there with a stolen shock rifle. He fired once. The soldier dropped. Riley dragged the body away. No mercy. Not today. An unexpected betrayal. They pushed back the first wave. The second dropship came down harder. This one had special ops, and leading them was someone Riley knew too well. Commander Lex Marrow. He stepped out of the dropship with his silver helmet under one arm, scanning the battlefield. He didn't look surprised to see Riley standing there. "So it's true," Marrow said. "You went native." "They lied to me," Riley replied. "They lied to all of us." Marrow smirked. "You were always soft, Riley. But I didn't think you'd fall in love with one of them." Kathira growled behind Riley. She's more human than you, Riley said. Marrow raised his rifle. Then let's see which species deserves to survive. The turning point. The battle turned brutal. Mechs tore through trees. Firebombs lit the jungle. Many beastwomen fell. Some warriors fought until their last breath, leaping onto mechs, tearing at them with claws and spears. Kathira led a pack, through the treetops, launching acid-filled pods into Earthfleet vehicles. Riley ran through smoke and fire, dragging injured fighters to cover. He shot until his rifle overheated, then used a blade. At one point, a mech locked its cannon on him. "Target traitor!" Just as it fired, Kathira tackled him, taking the shot to her side. She fell, growling in pain. Riley screamed, "Kathira!" But she grinned through the blood. "Still breathing," she said. "Go. End this." The final confrontation, Riley made it to the second dropship. Inside, he found the central command unit, the relay that connected to orbit. He inserted the stolen Earthfleet keycard. Access granted. A countdown appeared. Orbital fire cleansing. Show 4:30. Target jungle quadrant. Zeet, they were going to burn everything from space. "Not today," Riley said. He began typing commands, overriding the fire protocols, trying to redirect the satellite beams into the ocean. But behind him, Marrow entered the command bay. "Step away, Riley." He turned slowly. Marrow aimed his rifle at him. "You really think these creatures are worth it?" Riley didn't blink. "They're more alive than anything Earthfleet's become." "You'll die for them?" Riley smiled. "No. I'll live for them." Kathira's spear flew through the door, impaling Marrow in the chest. He dropped. Gone. Riley hit execute. The orbital laser fired into the empty sea. Victory at a cost. The Earthfleet ships lost contact with their soldiers. The jungle consumed the survivors. The beastwomen stood tall, but it wasn't without loss. Dozens had fallen, trees burned, sacred roots scarred. Kathira lay in Riley's arms, wounded but alive. "You chose us," she whispered. "I was one of them," Riley said. "Now I'm yours." She smiled. The deep roots glowed softly around them. The jungle breathed. Peace was returning. But they knew it might not last forever. The jungle watches. The jungle had gone silent again. After the final battle, the deep roots had wrapped their vines around the Earthfleet wreckage. Slowly, pulling the machines into the soil, the sky had cleared. Smoke drifted away. Riley stood at the cliff's edge, looking at the horizon. He wasn't the same man who had crashed here. He could feel it, deep inside his body. Something had changed. Something was still changing. Kathira, bandaged but recovering, walked up behind him. "You are part of us now," she said softly. Riley turned to her, his eyes darker than before, almost glowing green in the shadows. Maybe too much. Marked by the roots 2 days after the battle, Riley woke up sweating. His muscles ached. His skin was hot. Veins glowed faintly beneath his arms, a green light, pulsing like roots. He stumbled out of the hut and into the jungle, gasping. Leaves turned toward him. The ground shifted. The jungle responded. To him. "What is happening?" he whispered. A voice answered. It wasn't human. It wasn't Beastwoman. It was the jungle itself. "You bled for us. You saved the forest. We reward our guardians." He collapsed as vines rose and wrapped around his wrists gently, not to harm, but to share energy. "You are the first human root hybrid. You are the bridge. New powers, new danger." Riley began to notice new abilities. He could hear the trees, whispering to each other. He could feel danger in the ground before it happened. When he touched injured animals, his hands glowed, and they healed faster. But these powers came with visions, flashes of Earthfleet bases, new ships preparing. Hologram inside his old Earthfleet tablet blinked to life on its own. Riley Carter, status, enemy of Earthfleet, bounty, 900,000 credits, target, Terminate on sight. They were coming back. This time, not to study, not to capture, to burn everything. The exile message Riley and Kathira stood before the tribe. Council elders, warriors, and seers surrounded them in the glowing cave. The humans will return, Riley warned, and they'll bring worse weapons. Kathira nodded. Then we will fight. But the elder seer stepped forward. She had bark-like skin, her eyes pure white. You cannot stay here, Guardian, she said. Riley's fists clenched. What do you mean? You are too powerful now, the seer said. The jungle chose you, but Earthfleet hunts you. Your presence brings death to our doors. Kathira grabbed Riley's arm. Then I go with him. No, the seer said. Only, he may walk the ancient path, a secret path, a sacred one. The path of beasts and men. Riley was given supplies, a knife made of living bone and a cloak woven from jungle silk. Kathira kissed him once, long and fierce. You'll return, she said. I promise, he whispered. Then he disappeared into the forbidden zone, the deep jungle where no Beastwoman had walked for 1,000 years. There the air was heavy with old power. Massive trees towered like buildings. Strange creatures watched from above, and a beast waited for him at the center, 12 feet tall, eyes like stars, fur that shimmered. It didn't attack. It bowed. You carry the seed, it said. I don't understand, Riley replied. You will. A weapon, reborn inside the ancient cave. Riley found something impossible, a crashed ship, not from Earth. Alien symbols glowed. Inside, he found armor, living armor, waiting for a chosen one. The suit bonded to him, wrapped around his body. Biosync complete, said the suit. Riley Carter, status upgraded. New rank, Jungle Warden. Weapon systems unlocked. He now had control over vine spears that shot from his wrists, root shields that formed on command, camouflage skin that matched the forest mental links to jungle beasts. He wasn't just human anymore. He was the jungle's sword. The final warning a week later. Earthfleet sent a message. A drone hovered near the forest edge and projected an image. Commander Lex Marrow's brother now led the fleet. You survived. Good. Now surrender. We are bringing 10 ships next time. Entire valleys will burn. Riley stepped out of the trees in his new armor. Silent, glowing. He looked straight into the drone's lens. Then he whispered, Bring everything. The forest is ready. The drone exploded, shredded by thorns. Behind him, thousands of glowing eyes opened in the jungle. Not just beast women, but creatures, giants, spirits of wood and root. And at their front, Riley Carter. No longer a soldier, no longer just a man, now a legend. The end.